Welcome to Dig Deep, the mining podcast. In this podcast, we go deep into mining news, hot topics, and live interviews with mining professionals and leading figures in the mining industry. Introducing your host, Rob Tyson, founder and director of Mining International and Mining International Executive, a leading global mining recruitment and headhunting agency.
Hi mining community, welcome back to another episode of the Dig Deep, the mining podcast. And we have a returning guest who appeared only about 6 months ago, back in June 2024, which was episode 444. Emanuel Proença, who's the CEO of Savannah Resources, one of Europe's leading conventional lithium development companies, with one of Europe's most significant lithium raw materials assets within the European Union. He has a background in industrial engineering and an experienced executive in the energy transition in mobility, with a strong track record of managing transformation and generating growth within sectors, including greenfields production, market development, electrification, liquid fuels, hedging, trading, logistics, and retail of liquid fuels. Emmanuel's going to give us an update on Savannah Resources, how the project is developing since we last spoke 6 months ago, and how that's going to help Portugal's energy transition. Hi, Emmanuel. Welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Great to have to be back. Thank you for this. All good. All progressing well at our end. Excited to be here again. And also excited to have a few more months of mining experience now. So one day I'll become a veteran. So.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. So for those that hadn't listened to our previous episode, I just wondered if you can just give us a snapshot of yourself, your career. As I mentioned, been involved in the energy transition for a while. So I just wondered if you can give our audience just a little bit of an overview of your background and your career, just so they understand a little bit about yourself.
Sure, no problem. After a few years of living abroad, I started, as you referred, I'm an industrial engineer. I started as a strategy consultant at BCG, then moved a bit around. I did my MBA in Singapore, then went to France, the US, and Brazil, stayed in Brazil for a few years. And when I came back with my wife, we decided it was about time to build a family. And it was also about time we started also doing something good for the country. And so since then, 3 little girls that are not as little anymore, and a few adventures in a set of sectors, as you referred. All of these sectors have in common industrial developments mostly. And so I've done a few of exercises of building teams, hopefully high-performing teams that were successful in delivering their projects. And through that experience, I also had the opportunity to learn a lot about how to develop industrial businesses in Portugal and in Europe, and also how to be part of the acceleration of energy transition, this energy transition transformation that is so important. And it's not only because of all the good things that we refer about reducing CO2 and building a better world for us. It's in parallel, or even more, because all of this energy transition is basically in itself a huge opportunity for businesses that are well positioned in the field. It is so many things that are transforming at this stage, that are changing at this stage. We talk about the age of AI. It's also the age of energy transition. And so when you do new businesses in this sector and you do them correctly, they frequently become hundreds of million worth to billions worth quite well and quite fast. And hopefully they are in a position to thrive for the following decades. And so when I, in the past, looked at so many other ventures in energy transition, and these included advanced biofuels, green hydrogen, and also charger network, and so on, it became clear, or it has become clear through time, that some opportunities are really well positioned to take advantage of this transformation. And one of them is, in my clear opinion, Savannah. And so it was great to join it a year and a half ago. Since then, I've learned a lot about mining specifically. I wasn't by any means an expert in the sector, but I was lucky enough to join a team that is and that has very, very good professionals both in geology and in mining, and a lot of work that had already been done in the previous years to make sure that we had the resource fully mapped and the path to production fully mapped and controlled and tested thoroughly in a variety of settings. So here I am 6 months after we talked with a few good news on the developments we are achieving right now.
Yeah, great. So I wonder if you can just give an overview of Savannah Resources, and I suppose also wonder if you can just tell us a little about the obviously significant progress that you've made in the last 6 months since we last spoke.
Sure. Savannah is listed on AIM on the LSE in London. So it's listed for a bit below 100 million pounds, a bit above 100 million dollars at this stage. So it's a junior miner, that will be 15 years old this year. One that had moderate success in the past in other projects a bit throughout the world, from Finland to Mali, Mozambique, Australia, and the likes. But got to understand 7 to 8 years ago that it found an interesting opportunity in this nascent lithium market, and since then, over these last 7 to 8 years, it bets strongly on developing the opportunity. So it has now invested over 40 million euros, quite close to 50 actually, in fully mapping that resource. And as it progressed, it understood better what it had at hand, and it became very clear that it was its opportunity to jump and to make the leap towards becoming a full-fledged producer with an amazing resource at hand to work from. And so when I joined the company, it was already clear that we had the largest spodumene resource in Europe, and that by itself was interesting. It was also clear that it could become a very good resource by any global standards, and it is becoming clearer as we go. So today we are at 28 million tons of resource, 1.05% on average. But at the same time that we have an additional exploration target of 11 to 19 million tons. And only last week we showed with an RNS, we showed some results of a further exploration that seemed to show that the whole system may be significantly larger than that. And if we get to numbers that are at some point closer to the 100 million tons, we will be clearly working in one of the best resources globally. At the same time that it's not only spodumene, it's quite shallow. It's very close to surface. It has very good intersections. These new results that are coming out are frequently showing opportunities beyond the 2% grade, which is very good and very interesting. And the other minerals that are there also have a market. We can also put them into the market, and because we are in a region that has ceramics and a glass industry that are strong, and we have a good feldspar and quartz mix that will come out of our plant. So all put together, that means that we are certainly developing one of the good resources of the world that can serve the lithium market very competitively, and we're doing it from a European country at the moment in which both Europe and the US are trying to accelerate to catch up on how far they are behind China at this stage.
I would like to welcome our sponsor, Hawcroft. Founded in 1992, they provide property risk management services to the mining and other industries, using their knowledge, perception, and expertise to offer true foresight across all aspects of mining and infrastructure. Their insurance risks surveys are recognised as the industry standard, as their reports are comprehensive, ensuring underwriters are well informed of risks surrounding your operation and quality control of those risks. Working with some of the biggest mining companies in our industry and across 600 sites, Hawcroft offer insurance risk surveys, construction risk reviews, asset critical and specialty assessments for a variety of mining, processing, smelting, materials handling, power, refining, port and rail operations. So if you're looking for a premium bespoke property risk management and risk engineering service, then contact Horcroft today or visit their website at www.horcroft.com. All details are enclosed in the show notes accompanying this episode. From your vantage point, how do you see the lithium market shaping up during 2025 and beyond? And how do you vision the Barroso lithium project playing as part of that?
Sure. So the first thing that is obvious for everyone listening, but should be stressed, is that for us the most important is what we have afterwards. What kind of market we have from 27 onwards, which is when we expect to be producing. So we expect to be finalizing our DFS this year, building next year, and producing in 27 as soon as possible. And so the most important for us is what market we will get from 27 to 35. That's where most of the NPV is. And it certainly is becoming clearer and clearer that the lithium and the battery revolution are not going anywhere. The fundamentals that drive growth in these two markets are just becoming stronger. And as they become stronger, the prospects for a very good opportunity from 27 and beyond become stronger also. It is also obvious to everyone that if we had a slightly stronger price at this stage, well, it would be potentially easier to raise money if needed at some point, or to capture the attention of a few more investors. But truth is that we're not seeing significant difficulties at that end of the equation. So we struck what I think was a very good deal with AMG Critical Materials in the summer last year, right after we met and right after we did that episode, you and I, Rob, and this was after a strategic partnering process that had a few additional candidates, some of them, some of the largest and most interesting companies in the world. And we continue to have interest from a variety of players that are seeing the long-term value of the sector and are seeing a company that can deliver a resource at a very good, at very competitive prices to the market as a good company they should partner with on top of the European angle. And so maybe I should also refer that at this stage with the scoping study, we're seeing a full cost break-even price at $600 per ton for the project. So this would include capex, remuneration, and the likes. Obviously, there are assumptions behind this number, and the number needs to be confirmed upon DFS. But the scoping study that we did was quite close to a PFS, so it was already quite complete. And with the information we have at hand today, there is nothing that we would say that that would be less than confirming that we are progressing in the right direction to deliver numbers as such. So this means that even under the current price conditions, we could be working. Now to your question. What I think is that 25 is a year of reshaping the system. So 23 to 24 was this year of hangover from the 22 spike, and that hangover was strong and pronounced. But at the same time, there were a few reasons why 24 could be a year of transformation. The CO2 standards for electric vehicle for vehicles sold in Europe were the same as the previous 4 years. The system in Europe works on a 5-year model, and the German states decided to move towards the markets that was less driven by subsidies. These two things have happened, and in 25, automakers have a standard that is more demanding that they need to comply with. The German market effect is gone. Plenty of European automakers are putting a new offering into the market, and so I would expect that the European markets reaccelerate significantly on the EV penetration. At the same time, China is not stopping. They're just accelerating their penetration of EVs into the system. We have a question as to what will happen exactly in the US, and I would say that it's still a bit too early to fully confirm, but at the same time, we know that the US market is less than 16% of the global market for vehicles, and that it is subscale still on the EV penetration. So question is how much a daunting scenario there in the US would actually affect the macro trends, and I would say that perhaps it wouldn't affect too much. And on top of this, BESS is the big storage systems were not a thing. They were a lab thing only 12 months ago, and now they're becoming a significant trend. They're growing fast, and some of them are quite big. And certainly the electric systems throughout the world now need them more than they needed them only 12 to 24 months ago. And so all of these together makes me think that lithium demand will continue to go up significantly. It should be recalled that last year, a year in which there were so many bad news through the sector, it was still a year in which lithium demand grew significantly and in which the EV markets globally grew by 25%. So if that is the bad news, let's prepare for the good ones, right? And I would say that the fundamentals of the market became stronger also because batteries became more competitive. So I'm looking forward to seeing the numbers for 25, but I would expect significant growth. Is that significant growth enough to get the surplus and the excess stock in the system out very soon, so as to get the price up very soon? I don't know, to be honest. We need to wait to see exactly how things progress. We're still seeing some lithium producers show some of the bad news of 24 in terms of results. You saw Tianqi showing posting a loss and dropping out of its idea of doubling the refining capacity in Australia for now. We will see some releases of results again that will still show a 24 that was daunting. And at the same time, we're seeing a bit of M&A activity that seems to show that those who are here for the long term are believing in the fundamentals and are positioning to capture the opportunity when the market comes back up. These last few weeks, 2 months have shown that the market is getting a bit better. We'll see how much better it will be through the year. Question.
Yeah. So if we have a look at your project, and obviously as progress accelerates, what are some of the milestones ahead of production? People and our audience, and obviously maybe investors, what should they be looking for?
Yeah. So very clear focus going forward. We want to deliver this project, and we're putting all of our efforts into ensuring that we do all the steps required to do just that with the right quality and at the right speed. So we're progressing on the last drilling campaign before the FS. We're progressing well on the engineering side of things with companies like Sedgman, Minsol, Snowden, and IPSOL supporting us. Companies that are experts in the field. They were involved in most of the big mining projects in Western Australia in the last decade. And so they know a lot about how to ensure that we have the most solid projects together with us and our team. We'll be also accelerating land access and acquisition procedures, and we will be releasing some of the results coming out of this drill campaign as we go. At the same time that we are also working on the full financing package on a variety of fronts, and also working towards ensuring that we have a team that is very strong for the next stage of delivery, and that we have good community engagement, that we work together well with the local community. And I think we're progressing well in all of these fronts. And it is important to progress in all of the fronts, because we want to deliver the DFS by before the end of the year, on the second half of the year, and we want to be as close to an FID by then, so as to shorten the time between the FS and an FID. Again, as referred, should everything progress well, we would be starting to build soon in 26 and producing in 27, which puts us in a very good position to capture the opportunity that every analyst is betting on from 27 onwards.
Yeah. When we last spoke, community engagement was a key topic. How has the local community responded to some of your social initiatives? What new programs and initiatives are in the pipeline?
It's a good question. Yes, community was a hot topic before, even before I joined. The previous 3 to 4 years were years in which there was a lot of tension on the table. There were the opposition group had built its own narrative around the project with plenty of things that obviously are exaggerations or blatantly wrong. But truth is that was the main story in the news. And so becoming closer to everyone locally was critical. So we had to reestablish confidence so as to be able to, after reestablishing confidence, so as to be able to show the project as it really is. And this was important to do at a local level, but also at a national level, also with the local and national media. So it was an exercise that needed to be done in all fronts at the same time, but starting first with locals, with where we actually deliver the projects, where we actually will impact lives, right? And I think that we've made good progress in the last year to year and a half. I think we are in much better shape today, and I would say that today in the community you have an understanding of the project, and you have an understanding that it was not the big monster that was being played, that it is actually something that can deliver important results in terms of developing the region, in terms of keeping the locals here and not and stopping the emigration freeze, in terms of allowing a few of those that have emigrated in the last 40 years in the region, and there are a lot, to come back to their families and to work for the region. So I think that message is now passing and is now much more and much better understood by many in the region. At the same time, we have walked a bit of the talk. So we have improved some of the facilities that we have in the villages. We had the core sheds that was a bit precarious, let's say. We have revamped it and transformed it into a geology center. And this wasn't at a very significant cost, but just the fact that you show a work area that is proper, tidy, neat, makes a big difference. On top, it is rented, and everyone knows it is rented to a local. So some few people were saying how lucky he was that this was rehabilitated and that he now has a proper warehouse. At the same time, we moved into a larger office in the Boticas municipal center. We started rehabilitating 2 houses in the Covas village, which is the village that is closest to the concession area, although outside it is acceptably close. So we are rehabilitating those houses, and a few of us are already living there. So being part of the local community, we have grown our local team, and so we have more people that are from these villages that are part of our team. And every time we do that, we are basically impacting positively a family that sees that we are actually delivering on what we're doing and that this is good for their relative. So a lot of these things, although each of them being small, the fact is that the community here is also small. This is a region that is not densely populated, and the whole municipality, which is quite big, it takes me almost an hour to drive from one end to the other of the municipality. Overall, you have 6,000 people, and in the concession area where we operate, you have no one, and you have no infrastructure. So it's a pine tree forest area, an industrial pine tree forest area. So just the fact that you employ more locally, that you show yourself more presence, that myself, I'm doing this video from Boticas today, that we now have a communities team that is doing the right thing for the community every day, has made a long way and has allowed us to clearly show everyone here that we are here for the good. it doesn't mean that that everything is sorted out, not at all. So you still have an opposition group, and you will always have an opposition group. It is important to recognize this, and also to recognize that no project is consensual 100%. So politicians get their positions sometimes with 40% of the votes. It is obvious that projects are not consensual. Would they be a highway or a dam or an industrial facility or even a garden in a municipality? Everyone will have an opinion towards every big project, and some will have an opinion that is negative. So what I think has happened over this year and a half is that the opposition group has become significantly smaller, and at the same time a bit more radical. They were already a bit more radical, but one thing is that you are radical when you're winning the battle. The other one is when you're starting to lose it, and we have to acknowledge that that is an issue that we need to continue to be attentive and to try to sort out. On the other end, on the positive end, we start to see more and more people who are asking for jobs, who are applying to work with us. We do events. We opened this warehouse to like a kind of barbecue, end of day barbecue, every month and a half, and we allow everyone to come. So it's just if you're from the region and you'd like to join us, you come. And in the last events, you have more than 150 to 200 people who are just there to be together with us and to enjoy a good evening. And more important, we're trying to do everything according to plan. We're trying to communicate the plan in advance, and so as not to have to show any surprises as we go. And we're trying to do the right thing. And with all of that, I think we are in a much better position today, and we are getting closer to where a company like Calibre is in terms of community engagement in Finland. They're progressing and executing their project, and they're seen mostly as a positive development for the region. I think we're getting closer to that, and one day we'll clearly be in that position.
Yeah. If you look at various countries around the world, they're looking at obviously their own domestic supply of battery materials. I just want to give us an overview of the European market within lithium, and just sum up what is happening in the lithium space across Europe.
Yeah, I would say that when mentioning Calibre and AMG and ourselves, we're talking about those that are most advanced. The Calibre project in Finland is now in construction. It is also a spodumene project. At the resource level, they're at this stage, I think, 40% behind us in terms of dimension. So the resource is not as big, but it still is big enough to justify a mine and to justify a refinery. And they're building both, and I think they're doing a very good job. AMG opened the hydroxide finishing facility in September. It's the first large refinery of Europe. That's in south of Berlin, Bitterfeld. And they became our shareholders, although at only 15.8%, relevant shareholder, of course, in July last year. So we're basically working together with them, and I think it's two of the most advanced companies and projects in terms of developing the backbone of the battery value chain in Europe that are working together. At the further down in the value chain, you see a lot of developments. You obviously have CAM and PCAM producers that are from the region, German and French, but also from other countries. You also have international players, Korean and Chinese, that are doing investments into Europe. And afterwards, you have a variety of battery assemblers and a variety of players further down into the value chain. So what is happening is that this value chain hasn't developed as completely as it should, and that it's missing the starting elements. And so this element of mining is absolutely critical, as we are seeing everyone in the sector acknowledges today that an integrated perspective is much more value-adding and much more interesting in the longer run. And that's basically is because you need to have the resource so as to make sure that you're developing a solid and competitive value chain. So the fact that we and Calibre are progressing fast is good. Let me tell you only about Portugal. A small rectangle at the bottom left side of Europe. only in Portugal you have us. You will likely have in the future a few more projects related to lithium and to other critical materials. Portugal is strong in copper. It's strong historically in tungsten also. There are a few exploration projects in other minerals, but I would say that lithium is probably where we will be most successful. But at the same time, you've had 4 projects for refineries. So a small country that has the potential to attract up to 4 refineries. That's Aurora, a project that has faced problems with the Northvolt issue, but it's also AMG. It's Lithium, a part of the Bondalti Group, a chemicals producer that has a century-old chemicals producer in Portugal that are very strong. I know that there is another project that is still confidential. So it is a country that has a lot of reasons why it could develop a whole battery value chain from the mineral to the battery. And this includes competitive labor, it includes very competitive electricity, it includes cement producers that can take some of the byproducts of the refineries, it includes a very good access to Central European markets and very good capacity to build other car plants on top of those that already exist in the country and are significant. Something that is not known by many is that between Portugal and Spain, and the 2 countries that live side by side, you produce 1 in every 5 cars in Europe. So it is a significant automotive industry that we share as two neighbors. And the other thing that is probably less known also is that we are very close to 80% of green electricity in the grid, and with most of it coming from sun and wind and hydro, and the three together work very, very well and are building a very competitive energy mix. And so we're seeing more and more interest in both the mineral side of the equation and the further downstream side of the equation into Portugal. And I would say that the country can become one of these powerhouses for the future. Certainly, Hungary has also attracted interest, and Germany has all the history of having so much industry and so many interesting players there that it easily attracts interest. The other thing that I think is interesting for those who want to understand better what's happening in Europe is that although the continent sometimes looks slow, it is actually acting quite significantly faster in this front at this stage. So we're seeing multilateral export credit agencies and support development banks all have building their plans to support the development of the industry. This includes BPI-France in France, it includes Infravia as a private equity supported by the French government in the first phase of its fund. It includes the KfW, the German development bank supported by Allianz Trade. They both confirmed in an LOI that they would want to support us, Savannah, in the project with a guarantee and a loan of up to $270 million, which accounts for a significant portion of our capex, and it was also a good development. You're seeing the European Investment Bank look at the sector. They supported some of the debt portion of Calibre, which was a first good and important step. You're seeing the Portuguese government develop a billion euro fund to support the battery value chain and to support its acceleration. So I think most of the pieces that are required to develop this industry over the coming 5 to 10 years are being put together, and it's just a matter of accelerating. For us, it would be important and useful that this whole value chain develops, but at the same time, we would be competitive in a global setting. So if anything, we could be shipping our products elsewhere also.
You've been in the mining industry for the last 18 months as the CEO of Savannah. What lessons have you learned over those 18 months that you'd like to obviously share with us?
Geez,
Too many.
Too many, I think. Too many. It's been very interesting. Every time I change the industries, I learn so much about the new one that I almost become in love with the industry quite fast. And in mining specifically, it affects so much of our lives that and at the same time it's underlooked. So it is very exciting to be part of good projects in this sector. But I've learned a lot about how to execute these projects, about how important it is to have the first critical elements in place. So if you don't have a good resource, if you don't know how to process it well, if you don't have a solid certainty that you'll be competitive in the market, well, it will just be too hard, right? And at a given moment, you will have the market against you, and you'll be in bad shape, and you'll have problems. It is interesting how different it is to be in a project that has those things in place from a project that doesn't, and you clearly see that when downturns such as the 23 to 24 downturn hits. At the same time, it is very interesting to see that some of the most successful players are the ones that go through these downturns well, and are the ones that look at these downturns as opportunities to accelerate, opportunities to position themselves for the upturn again, opportunity to get into other ventures, to buy some few others. And you certainly have seen that in this lithium space also. You've seen Rio Tinto come in, you've seen Pilbara, even in a moment like this by Lithium Resources in Brazil. You've seen now the Chinese trying to merge at the same time that they're buying a few more resources here and there. So, and you're seeing us hopefully accelerate towards execution. So it is in these times that you pick the winners, of the coming cycle. And those who have invested in the past at the right time in what are the heavyweights of the sector today, but only 5 years ago, have been successful, very successful in their investment, and have been very successful in their ventures afterwards. A curiosity, I think, Rob, that when we spoke, our board was about to change, and so it changed because we welcomed a non-executive from the AMG team together with this first strategic partnership. But it also changed because we invited Rick Anton to become our chairman. And Rick is someone who's been into 4 or 5 lithium cycle. He's been in the industry for 15 years. And it's great to have him together because it allows me to go through this cycle with a much better understanding of what will come afterwards, with a much better interpretation of what the odds of the LE are, of how fast and how well the brine projects can succeed, about whether the other players in the sector are doing the right moves or not, and how can we make sure we're positioning well. Short story about Rick. He, as a lawyer, helped Orocobre list, and perhaps a few of your listeners know what Orocobre was. They listed for $9 million back then. And soon afterwards, he joined the team as a full-time member, and he basically was part of the team that went from the $9 million of Orocobre into the $7 billion of takeover of Arcadium. So he was part of the team that went from Orocobre to then Allchem to then merging with Livent and becoming Arcadium, and then being bought by Rio Tinto. So a huge story of success and value creation. And when he joined Savannah, I think he saw the opportunity to do something similar, starting from a very good project. So all of these things together make me feel that we can be one of those that will be very successful over the coming 5 years and will become part of the lithium scene as one of the global references. That's what we're aiming at being.
Yeah. And lastly, what's the outlook for Savannah? And also, why should people look at Savannah Resources and maybe look to invest right now in the company?
I think for all of these reasons, but also because I think we're building a good team of very good professionals and very good people, people who are able to deliver a project that can be good for all stakeholders. And it is important when you have these key ingredients that make a very good project. It's very important that the next step is that you make sure you're delivering value to all of your stakeholders, from the local ones to the national ones, to our shareholders, and to our strategic partners as we go. And I think we'll be able to do that because we have the right DNA and the right ingredients. At the same time, we are progressing now at a very good pace. So only in the last 4 months, we've continued to increase our local team. We've added a few top-notch professionals, including a DFS developer that comes with more than 10 years of lithium experience on his back from the Australian big mines. You have people that are that were successful at FMG, at Minres, at Pilbara, at Arcadium again. So people who are seasoned in the sector and know what they're doing, and some of them have come in recently. We are drilling again. We have 4 rigs operating on sites at this stage. We're operating in land that is not ours yet, under a land easement award by the Portuguese state. We have a clear path to fully control the land that is required for the project, and we're delivering on that path. We have improved the local infrastructure, as I referred, so the team now has better conditions to work together. We are locating the team all here, so no more of this team that is spread out throughout the globe. We know that we want to continue having a small team in Western Australia to make sure we have the best knowledge in-house and the best ties with the sector there. But at the same time, we also know that we need to fully focus in Boutiques and in the project concession area, and that's what we're doing. So fully focus there, boots on the ground, making sure we're doing the right thing locally. And this drilling campaign will deliver what we expect will be very good results. And everything that we're doing on the engineering side is showing that we're progressing fast towards final engineering. So I think that we will on top of the KfW announcements, which was only in November, so in these 4 months, on top of these additional samples, which were basic exploration samples, but show that inside our concession area we are very, very likely to have additional ore bodies that will become a part of the resource at some point in the future. So all of that, together with a clear focus on developing these projects at the appropriate speed, means that we will have a very exciting year ahead, and I think we will continue to deliver very good news over this coming year. Another thing that is interesting, those who heard you on the podcast when we talked last time, 6 months ago, bought shares at a better price than it is today. So it may be I think it was a surprise to many that out of so many shares that represent projects throughout the world, 2 of the best performing shares were Savannah and Vulcan, 2 projects in Europe. And both of us delivered returns above 100%. And for us, it was clearly part of the re-rating exercise, which is not complete yet. So we know that we are still significantly undervalued versus some of the international peers on a price to net asset value comparison, on a price to resource comparison, and on a few other metrics. So there is still significant potential to go for the share, and there is still a lot of potential to capture in the project as we progress to execution.
Emmanuel, thank you for sharing your story, giving us an update on Savannah Resources, obviously speaking about the lithium market and namely obviously the European market. So really appreciate your time, and obviously good luck for the remainder of this year. If our audience wants to reach out to you, follow the story, get obviously all the news releases and updates on the project, how can they go about doing that? What social media channel platforms are you on?
We're stronger on LinkedIn, I would say, although we also have the Twitter account. So on both you can follow us. I still call it Twitter, yes. And on our website and through the RNSs, you can follow the story quite well, I would say. You also have our contacts; they're quite easy to get to. So everyone who wants to know more about the project and wants to be part of it in some fashion, drop us a line, and I think we'll be able to respond.
Yeah, certainly. And all those will be included in the show notes accompanying this for easy access. So all the best for 2025. Obviously, since we last spoke 6 months ago, you've made tremendous progress. So hopefully that progress will continue. No doubt it will. So good luck for the remainder of the year. And hopefully get you on the podcast maybe later this year or next year for an update.
It was a pleasure, Rob, again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed that episode. As always, appreciate your continued support. Please keep sharing these episodes far and wide. Obviously, you don't need to just share this episode within Europe. Please share it across the world to others in the mining industry, but also people outside of the mining industry. Obviously, lithium is a major component within the battery space. So please share this content because it can be useful and educational to people outside of our mining industry. Thank you again for listening. I hope to catch you next time. And until next time, happy mining.
Thank you for listening. Remember to reach out to Rob via the show notes and be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Until next time, happy mining, helping each other to improve the mining industry.